I think that they don't care.
I think although it's a natural disaster,
I'm really sorry for them.
they have other kind of interests right now.
Using it as a
Weapon.
gun.
This is purely a prevention.
Hello viewers, welcome to the E-Talk. At this platform, we discuss about 5 E's, that is Earth, Environment, Energy, Economy and Education. To discuss this topic further, along with me are 3 brilliant guests in the studio today. I have Mr. Matthias from Costa Rica. I have Ezgi from Turkey. Both are political analysts. And then I have Mr. Atibasa from Ghana. He's a development specialist. Recently, a fire broke out in the state of Hawaii in the United States. There is a lot of concern because it has turned out to be a failure on the part of the US government to control the fire, and the local residents have so much anger about it.
Maui County government in the U.S. state of Hawaii issued an update in the early hours of the 12th, confirming that 80 people have been killed in the multiple wildfires that broke out on the night of the 8th. Many people said they did not hear the sirens and even did not receive relevant information. 72 hours after the fire, the U.S. Navy's medical ships, helicopters, and other rescue equipment got to the disaster area. U.S. media are reporting that this is the largest hill fire in the U.S. in the last more than 100 years.
We have seen that the crisis was going on, and after 72 hours actually, the operation started. Some of the firefighters also claimed they did not have enough water in their hydrants. How do you see this?
I think the most important thing is that we have to understand that the government has the mission to protect these people. In this case, I believe that they have other kind of interests right now. United States government is thinking outside, is thinking about the Ukrainian situation, is thinking about their money, their budget for different things.
There is a military base in Hawaii, and this base is really huge. And they have resources for this base, but they don't have resource for saving human life. The government are not taking human life as a first step. They are naming themselves the best country in the world, such a best country which cannot protect their people within 72 hours, which cannot prevent that kind of situation, which not even putting alarms which are working. They're not even able to check those alarms. So I'm really sorry for them.
I think that first I had to sympathize with the victims of the disaster. Having said that, I think that this is purely a preventable kind of a disaster if the right steps were taken. If you look at the pre-disaster situation, Hawaii has experienced some kind of drought for the past months leading to the. So I think that the disaster stage 2 was a disaster for the safety organizations that were supposed to fight it. And then the post-disaster situations, right now they're still there trying to search for bodies, survivors, and then the profiling of those missing and those who were dead, and was also a very terrible thing because we have had cases where those who have survived the disaster have been listed as dead.
Let me add something to my colleague. In America, last year we saw some movements which called Black Lives Matter. Yes. Every single day they need to call them Hawaiian People's Lives Matter or Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, because in America, life doesn't matter for American government. We saw this during the last things. So
in reality, we see that things are completely going in in opposite direction. Now, this comment of President Joe Biden of saying no comment has a deep meaning to it. So, how do you see this comment coming from the horse's mouth of the President Joe Biden?
Latin people, Asian people, black people suffer a lot of discrimination, and by the police, by the government, by a lot of institutions that their mission is trying to protect the citizens that live there. So it doesn't surprise me that this comment comes out from the president of the United States.
This year we faced a really huge disaster too, an earthquake. And in the second day, all of the Turkish rescue team, nearly, they went there with a progress, but the necessary teams was there. And even, I said in the second day, because of this, even a Chinese rescue team arrived Turkey. During this disaster, we lost 11 cities in Turkey. This is huge area, and millions of people affected this disaster. I give an example from Chinese rescue team. Lots of international rescue teams arrived Turkey because China is really other side of the world. It takes like 12 hours with a direct flight to arrive to Turkey. So I think not just Hawaiian people, but all of the Americans are losing and already lost their trust to their government.
So I think we can recall that, for example, the fire in California all this year also was a response very bad, but of course was not this bad of response. And also the disaster in New York about the orange sky that happened because of Toronto's fires. Of course, Toronto is not in the United States, but they didn't care about the safety of the citizens of New York with the toxic air that burns bring and the, how do you say this, the smoke brings into the people.
I think that they don't care.
I agree with
Because
you.
they have what it takes to prevent or manage the thing better.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing is far less than what they can do.
Do you think, Matthias, that it is a man-made disaster, or was it natural?
I think although it's a natural disaster, it also has a lot of responsibility of the bad administration of a government and how they don't take any preventive actions. So I think we can watch a lot of other a lot of cases when it comes to climate disaster of prevention for the people. For example, in China, they also is suffering a lot because of the high temperatures. Actually, in China, we're one of the highest temperatures recorded globally, and they have also a lot of fires. But the planification made that these fires doesn't to them the planification and the prevention made that people can get out of these dangerous places, evacuated,
in time,
and that these fires doesn't affect anybody. Also, as we saw, for example, in Turkey, that the response was very fast, because of the importance of being ready for everything.
Okay.
But I'm sorry, there is one benefit for USA to global warming. They are always claiming China for not
in the big countries.
prevention and like the human rights. They are using it as a weapon, yes, against China. But as you mentioned, China is really well prepared. They are taking care of their human lives, their people's life. But the USA, it's not.
I think that it is purely a human induced kind of disaster. Even climate change itself is a human induced kind of phenomenon. That's not the first time Hawaii had fires. As I indicated earlier, on the average they get 6 fire incidences in a year. But we haven't had this disaster up to this kind of magnitude.
Yes.
So it's the negligence that has led to that. We didn't witness this scale of destruction.
Yes.
So it's purely a human-induced kind of phenomenon.
Which I see from this disaster is that the the domestic policy of a country is basically the reflection of the foreign policy. So instead of raising slogans of freedom and liberating people and imposing democracy in other parts of the world, I think it is the time for the United States to ponder deeply, and a big introspection is needed to put its own house in order first. Thank you for watching. Until next time, goodbye.